Good morning and welcome to K Talks. Our guest for today is the chairman and CEO of Ayala Corporation and is the recipient of the 2025 Asia Pacific Tambuli Lifetime Achievement Award. Please welcome Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala.
Thank you very much,
sir.
Thank you.
Great, and thank you for joining me here.
I'm so happy to be here, and it's been a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe we can start, during the awards night and the acceptance speech. In your speech, it was said that at Ayala, you lead best, not with ambition, but with attention to what people need, what they experience, and what the moment demands. So could you tell us a little bit about how this philosophy of attentive leadership has shaped decisions and perhaps the culture within Ayala Corporation through the years?
No, thank you. And it's certainly a very important question. The way I've looked at it, a lot of people ask me, at the end of my leadership journey, what is it that makes you most proud? And I've always tried to make sure that Ayala Corporation stays relevant to the needs, I guess, of society at any point in time. I think the whole capitalist system that is a framework, I guess, for business in our world has gone through many changes. And I'm a great believer that capitalism has to be used as a force for good and not to create more inequality. The Philippines is very particular in its inequality and its struggles and its pain points. And I've always sought to make sure that the company at this stage in its history and its journey remains relevant to the needs of its consumers, to the public in general, at all levels of income. And so I helped transform the company over time into a company that was attentive to addressing pain points that we had in society and has led us to changing the nature of our product line. So you take something like our real estate company, Ayala Land. When I entered Ayala back in the 80s, I'm a little older now, we only had really one product line. Technically now, we have five product lines. In the banking business, we had, I think at the time, 2 to 3 million customers. We have many multiples of that now, but mainly because we started to change the nature of our product line. We created Banco as well that moved into microfinance. And Globe, when it first started, was really just a prepaid phone, And when we moved into a postpaid environment where somebody could just go to a supermarket, get a phone, not have to have a credit score or anything like that, it became accessible to many others at a different price point.
And as we were talking about earlier, Gcash.
Well, Gcash is I guess, a new phenomenon that we're very proud about because the vast majority of Filipinos are not able to enter the traditional banking system or the finance system. And inclusiveness is an important component of the way we view, I guess, our business mandate. And any opportunity we have to create a framework or a product or service that will enable the average person to enter, the economic system that allows all of us a multiple series of services and products. Anything that is inclusive in nature is an important component of the way we view it. So this issue of relevancy is important. A company that is relevant to addressing the needs of the average Filipino and also that is sensitive to the pain points we face as a country.
Great, excellent. Now, looking back at your journey, quite accomplished professional career and all that, what lessons you think you would share that have most grounded you in purpose, and what continues to inspire you to keep leading, again, as you mentioned in your speech, to keep leading quietly, consistently, and with clarity about what matters? I think this was brilliantly phrased.
Yeah, thank you. When I started my business career, I started working as an analyst in 1981. It was a long time ago now. I was just working by the seat of my pants a little bit. I wasn't sure how to define problems, or I had no particular vision at the time. And I went to business school and graduated in 87. And it's really when I came back.
You did this in Harvard.
I went to the Harvard Business School. And it was then that I had a little bit more maturity, a chance for self-reflection, a broader understanding of what business entailed. But I returned to the Philippines at the time, and I realized that I had a wonderful time. I made great friends. I learned a lot of things. But I felt that many of the items, many of the answers, many of the paradigms, many of the frameworks were not that relevant to the needs of the Philippines. And I found myself in a bit of a conundrum. And I remember sitting and saying, how do I put all this to work in an environment that has not yet reached a level of maturity where the frameworks that I picked up are not there. So on my own, I decided to spend about 10 to 20% of my time with the nonprofit sector on my own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, I don't have that much I can contribute yet. I was still, a youngish man. I was in my late 20s, but I had some convening power. I had the ability to bring people together. So I brought in at the time a wonderful person, Vicky Cartitorena, to head our foundation. And I said, I need to understand how to make the company relevant. And I don't think I would get that from the business community. I'd get it from the nonprofit sector. So I spent quite a bit of time and I headed many initiatives. There was one which was to put computers in every public school in the Philippines. It was a great need at the time back in the late 80s. And I called up a number of Philippine companies involved in the technology sector. Everyone readily joined and we had a great initiative and we hit, I think, about 50 to 60% of the public schools in the Philippines. Then the government actually came back and said, we'll take this on from now on. I also took on children and youth issues. I got quite inspired by Tony Blair at the turn of the millennium to raise, it's called the Children's Hour, and it's basically getting people to dedicate 1 hour of their yearly wage to helping children and youth issues. And I convened the group again there, and the list went on. I joined the World Wildlife Fund. So bottom line, whether they were social issues or environmental issues, I tried to get a feel from those communities what the pain points of the country were, and that made me far more sensitive and aware of what was needed. But I'm a great believer that philanthropy is not necessarily the answer. It's the answer sometimes to certain issues, but a for-profit model, a business-related way of tackling pain points, I guess, in our environment is the way to tackle things. So with that sensitivity that I picked up and some understanding of what the pain points were, I tried to move Ayala in a direction where a number of our businesses were, had a chance to address some of those pain points. So what did it end up doing? I mean, when President Ramos decided to privatize the water system in the Philippines, we felt this could be a major contributor to the infrastructure of the country. And so it allowed us a chance to make a difference, we like to think, to the public infrastructure of the country. And I'm a great admirer of what President Ramos wanted to do. He just felt that private sector capital could bring a lot of accountability to addressing the needs. Telecommunication business, that was an infrastructure, piece of infrastructure that was evolving at the time. There was no mobile at the time. We just had fixed lines. We were behind as a country in a vital piece of infrastructure. So we felt that that would be a major contribution. And of course, it's been very successful. And Globe Telecom has been, I think, a good, solid contributor to the communication needs of the country. And as you pointed out earlier, has moved on to other areas like creating GCash and the like that's changed the financial system. So I think it was that sensitivity. And by the way, my engagement with nonprofit sector actually helped me build a range of friendships that continue to this day. And by bringing in business groups in a collaborative way to address general pain point, actually made us unite in a common cause, which in business doesn't always happen because you're generally competing.
Yes, even
so
competitors.
I built friendships, I built commonalities, and we were able to work together in a fun way to help address. And I never stayed long in one particular sector. I'd stay maybe 3 to 4 years and then I'd move on to another one. So I had a chance to get a feel of different issues. And going back to the issue of purpose, it's been, I guess, a lifelong journey to make Ayala relevant to addressing the pain points that the country has. Not always, but as much as we can. And be sensitive to the changing nature of our population, to the needs of a whole range of individuals and at different price points, and hopefully keep Ayala relevant to the changing nature, I guess, of the environment we're in.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think that's a perfect way to segue to my final question, which is really a little bit more about the Tambuli Awards. So, I wanted to ask you what you think about, do you think this award, like, Tambuli, that recognizes people, businesses, and brands that drive performance through purpose, is relevant and significant at this time. And you mentioned how it's not just about the philanthropic initiatives, which are of course very important, but actually Tambuli is precisely looking for that. How we can influence in a good way, contribute to society. Not so much just on what is considered like some corporate social responsibility initiatives, but but in the very core of one's business, how we can actually do good right there.
Right.
So, and I think that's exactly what we do. So you probably answered the question already, but in case
No.
you might want to add something else, if this award, why is it relevant?
Well, listen, it's a great honor, and precisely because of the
you.
nature of the Tambuli Award and what it represents, it's very much aligned to my view of how business should behave.
Right.
The whole concept of capitalism, the role of business, has evolved over time. But I'm a great believer that the Tambuli Award really represents a very fine and future-oriented and relevant way to look at the role of business in society. We're part of civil society in many ways. Not everyone has considered business as part of civil society in general, but I'm a great believer that is very much a part of it if structured in the right way. And Tambuli Award recognizes, I like to think, it brought off the role of business. In Ayala, we've believed in the concept that we call shared value. It was coined by a professor at Harvard called Michael Porter. I'm a great believer in it, where business has a broader responsibility that goes beyond its shareholders, and has a broader responsibility to society as a whole that goes beyond just paying your taxes, paying employees properly, and giving a good, decent return to the shareholders who put capital. I think it has a broader role. It has to conform to the needs of society, integrate itself into the fabric, I guess, of the communities around us, and be a positive force to those communities. I like that. I consider it an enlightened view of capitalism. And if capitalism and business will be trusted in the future, it has to provide solutions to the needs, I guess, of our society. And I've always been proud of the fact that the Tambuli Awards represent that in a very broad way. Going back to, I guess, a previous question about the role of leadership, I don't think there is any right or wrong leadership style. And young people sometimes get confused about, how leadership has to take place. I think you can be an introvert and be a good leader, and be an extrovert and be a good leader. But I do believe it has to be relevant to the changing nature of our environment, and be relevant to people, and must be kind of a warm, embracing and proactive and progressive force in our society, one rather than one that pulls back and takes out and pulls away from people in general.
Well, Mr. Zobel, thank you for this conversation and for, this quick but depth perspectives on leadership and purpose. So thank you. It's an honor to have this conversation.
Well, the honor is all mine. And,
thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it also.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, and to our viewers, thanks for watching. Until the next one. Bye for now.